As you all know, today is White Cane Day. There are a few things. आज White Cane Day है और हम दृष्टिबाधित लोगों के लिए कुछ ऐसे चीजें हैं जो हमारी जिंदगी में बहुत प्रभाव डाला है, जिंदगी में बदलाव लाया है. There are a few things, key things that have happened in over the years, which have actually, which could be considered milestone happenings in the life of people with vision impairment. One is the cane, two is Braille, three is the screen reading software, four is the IT revolution and creation of all these apps and all that, and, uh, and of course the use of artificial intelligence, and finally our desire to live and enjoy life. So today we are going to be talking about the white cane and how it has revolutionized our lives and how it had created opportunities for us to live life and enjoy it. So हमारे साथ आज तीन मेहमान हैं. प्रवीण कुमार जी है, वंशी जी है और नेहा अरोरा जी हैं. और हमारे पहला वक्ता होगा, और फर्स्ट स्पीकर वुड बी वंशी जी फ्रॉम Visakhapatnam.
Tirupati, Andhra Pradesh.
Oh, you moved to Tirupati. Okay, Tirupati. So over to you, Vanshi.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, George Abraham, sir. So at the outset, friends, I'd like to introduce myself. I am Dr. G. Vamshi, work as a manager in State Bank of India. And I'm working in SBI for the past 10 years. And I'm very happy to be a part of this program of Eyeway. I'd been a listener of Eyeway Encounters in the past. Now I'm very happy that I took the role of a speaker. And without wasting much time, we'll straight away go to the subject. See, friends, I'll take my own life and see how it has changed with the help of this white cane. Okay, so whenever I talk about white cane, one sentence written by my good friend of mine, who has written an article in one of the magazines about white cane, which is a beautiful statement. He said, okay, हिंदी में भी बात करूंगा, बात करने की एटलीस्ट कोशिश करूंगा. जैसे जॉर्ज सर ने कहा, मैं साउथ इंडिया से हूँ, थोड़ा तकलीफ होगा, थोड़ा आपको तकलीफ होगा मेरी हिंदी से. Kindly bear with me. Yeah. So what he has written in that article is that this white cane, which is very, very light in weight physically, is very, very heavy in weight for people who have not yet started using it. जो white cane है, जो उठाने में जो बहुत light weight है, first time users के लिए it will be very, very heavy. There will be lot of perception, social stigma within the mindset from the family. All bullshits will be influencing us to use this white cane. Okay, so that is the major block for any white cane user, especially people who have started losing their vision gradually in the middle, who have taken up white cane in 20s, 30s. Since I had been one such person who suffered for not using the cane, I'll start my journey from there. 2011, friends, I went to Chennai and I saw this cane with one of my friends. And I took from him and I said, I want this as a gift. Then he said, happy to gift a white cane to anyone. Then I brought this cane to my house. The first reaction of my mother. In 2011, I was sighted enough to walk alone on the road. इतना vision था मुझे. तो पहली बार जब मैंने white cane घर में लाया, then my mother had tears in her eyes. Do you require this? You're not blind. So that is the first impression of people, that white cane is a symbol of suffering. People who are blind, people who suffer, use this white cane. And that is the usual excuse people give me when I counsel them to use the cane. मुझे कोई तकलीफ नहीं, पर घर वाले नहीं मानते हैं, be it mother, wife, sister, daughter, son, whoever it is. So I'll not go into the journey, but 6 months ago, before the lockdown, I was going to the office. We stay in the first floor. ग्राउंड फ्लोर गया मैं, ऑटो रिक्शा में घुस रहा था. ऊपर से मेरी माँ ने ऊंची आवाज में पूछी मुझे, या ऊंची आवाज में बोली कि वंशी व्हाइट केन भूल गए हो तुम, ऊपर आके लेके जाओ, डोंट गो आउट विदाउट द केन. सो फ्रेंड्स, that is the difference the cane makes. Since they knew how much I had transformed, how much I had developed with the help of this cane, That is how people's perception changes over the years. Okay, so don't worry about all these things when starting using a white cane. And yes, we all know the advantages of white cane. I'll not go into the techniques and all, but as George sir had a discussion with me, I would like to share a few beautiful experiences I had with this white cane, which I'm going to share with you. ऑफिस जाना हॉस्पिटल जाना होटल जाना ये सब ठीक, but recently I read in one of the psychology articles, if you want to be happy in life, don't worry about investing in assets or properties. Invest in great experiences which will give you returns of wonderful memories for the lifetime. And for me, one such memory, one such experience is travel outside my city. So first time 2018, I read about something called as Back Travels, who were organizing a trip to Sikkim. So I was very apprehensive. अकेला जा रहा था, कोई जाने पहचाने नहीं थे. I had to be all alone. I did not know what to do alone. But all that I had was number one, the cane in my hand. Two, the confidence it gave me that चलो जो भी हो जाए तो manage कर पाओगे. So that sort of confidence, I went to Bangalore. I went to the Bangalore airport. So I would like to hear talk. I would like to hear say rather that specifically how this cane helps is something I'll touch upon, because that is how people should know about this cane. There should not be a general motivating session. So I just went to the airport, went to the Indigo counter and said, I am blind, I have a ticket. Within 2 minutes, there was a person who held my hand. I was using my cane, but a person held my hand, took me to the flight, made me sit, everything care was taken throughout the air journey. I had to get down at Guwahati, then board another flight to Bagdogra. Then I met this back travel. So even they were very helpful. All this was happening. We went to Sikkim, we went to respective hotels. And one lifetime memory I have is when we went to Nathula Pass. Nathula Pass is an India-China border. So we went and it was 14,000 feet high. There was a lot of mud, there was a lot of snow, treacherous passes, rough terrains, all these things. Even while others were struggling to walk properly, this white cane of ours had helped me so much even to navigate properly. And I used it even in snow passes. It did its job. I went to the top of the Nathula Pass where we could see the Chinese buildings, everything in the past. And I'll give you a remark, friends, which a cited person who cited Travel Palm by name is Nehit from Delhi told me. कि वंशी आते समय मेरे साथ आए हो तुम, आई हेल्ड योर हैंड, पर गॉड से किसी और के हाथ पकड़ो जाते समय, नीचे जाते समय. Then I said, why? Are you having a trouble? Then he said, no. With the help of your cane, you are walking at such a pace that I am not able to match you. So just imagine, that is what a white cane does. It others could not match our pace. And then here is some mischief which white cane made me to do. I should admit, I should confess rather. I poked this cane beyond Indian border. At least I thought it was Indian border. I poked this cane beyond Indian border, and the great Jawan there said, caution, Bhaiya, don't do it. So friends, another rare experience, you get cautioned by a duty army person if you use the cane. Okay, don't do it like me. So friends, another great experience in that Sikkim tour, which I can recollect, is when we went to a flower valley, which was inside a forest. So literally we had to walk for 3-4 kilometers in the forest. And you know how the forest ways are. It's not even a proper trail. It was not even a proper trail. So we had to navigate through trees, we had to navigate through small streams, everything. And again, it was this cane which helped me even in such a situation, even in such passes, that everything was very, very comfortable. And there was a boy, which I wrote about in my article also when I wrote this about this trip, by name Ashish, who was hardly 10-12 years. He shouted before everyone कि सबसे ज़्यादा वंशी भैया अच्छा चल रहा है ये जंगल में. Usually we see tourists struggling, but the only man who I could see is very comfortable is Vamshi Bhaiya, and he is comparing me with all sighted people. Okay, so that is what, friends. While we all know about white canes uses in normal roads and all, no matter what the terrain is, it helps you a great. And while returning, I must say that I came in a car from Sikkim to Bagdogra. I came in a flight to Chennai via Calcutta. I took a bus from Chennai bus stand to Tirupati bus stand. Night 2 o'clock, I took an auto rickshaw and came home. So within 12 hours, I traveled with all possible modes except water or train, right from Sikkim, a village in Sikkim, to Tirupati. White cane does not do all these things. White cane gives you the confidence to do all these things. So that is the wonderful. Next experience, friends. I had been to an international tour too with another travel company by name Rising Tours and Travels, which are still operational. So others were a bit delayed. I reached the international destination early. And just imagine, with the help of this cane, again with assistance in international airport, I alone managed even to do the immigration, get the visa on arrival, and I welcomed all other sighted tourists. So that's how helpful it is to have this cane. If you want to go out of your home, if you want to go out of your comfort zone, this is how a white cane helps you. And with the help of this cane, other travel experiences of mine. Just a minute. Yeah, I have another 2 minutes. With the help of this white cane, other experiences of mine have been, I love adventure sports for disabled people. And as all of us know, Adventures Beyond Barriers from Pune, Divyanshu Ganatra, who does a great job. So just two blind friends, we decided, we took flights from our respective places, went there, did paragliding for about 12 minutes. You can fly in the sky, okay, without a cane. Don't use a cane there. They will not be allowed. Okay, so we are just paragliding. So we went there, we enjoyed, just come back. Two blind people decided to have paragliding, went there, did it, came back. Okay, so like this, friends, once you have it in your hand, everything will be easy. And I would like to recollect two statements of a good friend of mine now who is in UK, who has been my inspiration role model in using the white cane. She shared with me, please remember this forever. Number one, white cane is not a magic wand. Just because you have a cane, it will not take you anywhere. It's not the Allahuddin Deep कि मुझे दिल्ली ले चलो हाईवे के साथ स्कोर फाउंडेशन ऑफिस नहीं ले चलेगा. It will not do it. You have to use it. You have to work hard, use it, and develop yourself. Number one. Number two, no matter how experienced expertise you have in white cane, still you are bound to make some mistakes where you will miss a direction, you will go into the wrong room, you will go into a wrong door. All this will happen. Even after 10 years, 20 years, this will keep happening. Never get mentally bogged down just because you had done something wrong. That's very normal even for experienced white cane users. Okay, so be realistic about the white cane and take it up. Take it up. I wish, I appeal to all my friends here who have not used it. If there is anyone who have not used it, start holding it. Forget about using, first start holding the cane and your life will transform like anything. All the best, and thank you for this opportunity, George.
Thank you, Vanshi, for that wonderful sharing. And I'm sure, we all realize that the cane is not a magic wand, but I think it works like magic as far as your mind is concerned. It gives you the confidence, it liberates you, it gives you the freedom, and most of all, it gives you the opportunity to do what you want. So, and your story, your travel, your story to Sikkim was quite fascinating, especially, putting your cane in the Chinese territory. That was fascinating. So moving on, we have another gentleman who is also widely traveled. He has traveled overseas, he's traveled within the country, and he's traveled alone. And he's been doing it for many, many years. He's my good friend, Praveen Kumar, who originally is from Bangalore, but has been living in Delhi for many, many years. And he works with an organization called Voluntary Services Overseas, VSO. So right now he's grumbling because lockdown has kind of locked him inside the house. Praveen, let's hear your story.
Yes, George. Hi. Can you hear me?
Very clearly.
Yes. Namaste everyone. Thanks George for the opportunity. It's good to be back on Highway again after many years. And so, yeah, as George said, I love traveling, and I happen to do development as my work, but my passion is traveling. It all actually began when I was very young, and as George said, I grew up in Bangalore. And Bangalore is a city of many things. So I always wondered growing up as a child, when going in an auto or going in a vehicle or bus, I would always turn around and kind of wonder where the other road went. So if the bus was going straight and it took right turn, I would ask somebody, is there a left turn? And they'd say yes. So I'd ask them where that road went. So that curiosity kind of seeped within me for times to come. And slowly I started discovering Bangalore as a city. Even now, I know Bangalore as much as I knew it 20, 30 years ago. So that's mainly my passion for travel. That's how it began. And even as I was young, I used to go to this library. I remember Mitra Jyoti in Bangalore, where they used to give cassettes. So cassettes, we generally forget because nowadays we talk much about technology and so on. But in the 90s and people who were before that as well would remember the cassettes which used to be recorded, and we used to use that as technology in those days. Okay, so why I like travel? So travel is basically a passion, as I said. It keeps me busy. It enables me to meet new people, understand diversity, enjoy the culture and the history. So I am a student of history and I love history. So today I'll just speak of some examples. And for example, if when we start thinking of going out somewhere, it's very important that we kind of want to visit a nice place and see what things are there. But often we wonder how we will reach that place or get any support to enjoy that place. And many people ask me even now, you're blind. Why do you go and visit palaces and these kind of places? What fun do you get out of it? I just turn around and tell them, look, the feeling of enjoying things is just not external or visual. It can be within. It is also the ambience and the nostalgic feeling that one derives of being there. And maybe with a little bit of explanation and description, you can enjoy it as much as any sighted person can. So the key aspects of any travel, when I decide to travel, the first thing is I look up Wikipedia or Google. So we all know today how these two things are very important for us. We use the screen reader software, and it's luckily these two platforms are very accessible. So I just type, for example, Mysore Palace, and the result the Mysore Palace was built in 1912 by Henry Irwin. It is 245 feet height and 256 feet long, and so on and so forth. So you have a background kind of a image as to, okay, this is it. Now you want to get there and kind of actually go from one end of that 256 long feet in terms of the area and kind of experience that actually. So what are the things which I do? So whenever I travel, the first thing, as I said, one is definitely looking up Wikipedia and Google, and the second is then looking at these platforms for booking the tickets. So I'll speak a bit in Hindi also, so people can relate to. So जब travel करते हैं, mainly Wikipedia से पढ़ लेते हैं उस जगह के बारे में, और दूसरा जो हम देखते हैं कि कहाँ कैसे हम बुकिंग करेंगे, ट्रैवल का बुकिंग करेंगे. तो क्लियर ट्रिप एक प्लेटफॉर्म है जो कि फ्लाइट टिकट्स के लिए आसानी से बुक कर सकते हैं और एक्सेसिबल है. एंड IRCTC तो हमारे इंडियन रेलवे का जो वेबसाइट है वो भी एक्सेसिबल है, उससे भी बुक कर सकते हैं. सो ये बुक करने के बाद पहला चीज जो एयरलाइंस को बता दें कि हम टिकट बुक कर लिए हैं, नेत्रहीन हूँ, मुझे मदद की जरूरत है. सो डेफिनेटली आस्क फॉर असिस्टेंस एंड एंश्योर दैट इज देयर ऑन द टिकट. So as that is booked, that's clear, that's out of the way. Then the next thing is booking the accommodation. Nowadays, we also have very accessible sites as OYO and Make My Trip. You can also call and stuff like that. You can also book. But the best way I do it is you just go, you find the hotel, you call the number, and you pick up the number, call them, and most often it's also much more cheaper than what is offered. So you are able to negotiate and things like that. So you make the booking. The next part comes on the actual day of travel. So how do you travel? It's as very simple. Nowadays, as George earlier mentioned, there are apps. There's Uber, there's Ola. These are all accessible nowadays on any iOS or Android platforms. So you book any of the cab, reach the airport, and of course, as the previous speaker said, white cane definitely is my inseparable companion. I use the white cane, reach the boarding counter, ask for assistance. You just go through the security check and those kind of things and pass to the boarding. You board. And the best part is we don't have to go through the long queues. We are fast tracked. That's an added advantage. And once you reach at the destination, again the guide escorts you through till the gate again, and the simple, the Uber, Ola, or the local auto rickshaws are there to kind of get us to the hotel and so on. Then most of the time we always think, okay, now we've reached there, how do we get to the palace? That becomes a big challenge. So what I did was, initially when I was in my younger days, I used to rely on people. Okay, some friends who would request them, or oh, I need your help, can you take me there, and stuff like that. But everybody are busy. Nobody has time. So the best way is ask I just remember this experience. I just asked the hotel person over there, do you know any auto rickshaw guy who's good, the driver? So they said, yes, we can send one of them. And I went with this auto rickshaw driver in Mysore, and then he took me around to the palace. And as I went in, it was a very, very good experience for him as well, because he also learned how to explain things of the palace campus and so on. He took pictures of me and in that campus. And then we went in, I hired another guide who took me through this palace. There's a it's a 3-story building, massive building, the Darbar Hall and other halls over there. And the best part is they also allowed me to touch some of the exhibits, which generally they don't allow to touch for visitors. So I was happy to touch all the sword and the big talwars, what we call it. So it was very interesting to see, because I only heard about this or heard the sounds of it on the television. Then obviously, and then you come back the same way. So it's just as simple as that. The other example I can give is I went to Konark, and people who know eastern part of the country in Odisha. Konark is a very famous sun temple, and it looks like a chariot. It was built by Narasimha Deva, the Eastern Ganga king in the 12th century. It's wonderful. It's in ruins, but it's nice. People used to use it, the wheels, to calculate time. It's that interesting. So I was getting there by one of the auto rickshaws, and I was using this app called ID. And I told him, the auto rickshaw was kind of looking at the place. So I told him, take a U-turn and then take a left. You'll just get into this Konark temple area. He was stunned. He just turned around and said, hey, you can see. I said, I'm blind. Trust me, I'm blind. So he was totally stunned. So I said, see, all this is because of the apps. We have ID, we have Google Map, accurate locations are there. and then you go there and stuff like that. And I obviously take the white cane and went inside, and there was somebody to help me through and explain a bit and stuff like that. And nowadays we also have this app called Be My Eyes. So if you want some description, you just click on that, and you have volunteers who come on and to explain what is there in front of you. So those kind of technologies also there. And so lastly, I mean, just to leave with some tips, I just want to say that one, definitely we need to plan very well, because it's important to be well prepared, well read about that location, see what are the other possibilities, be flexible also. The second is being organized, because as George said, I've been traveling for nearly 22 years now, both within India and abroad. And I always keep a kit, like a travel bag ready, and that will have even small things like scissors and staplers and many other things, which generally you don't find. Because if you're in a hotel, you will need a scissor to maybe cut the sachet and those kind of things. So you never know. And for sighted people, it's very easy. They'll just pop out and go to the shop and come back, which we can't do. So those kind of things come in very handy. The third is being transparent. And when I say transparent is, if I'm blind, I'm blind. I'm not shy about it. So बोलने में क्या है, हमको नजर नहीं है, हमको मदद चाहिए. And लोग बहुत मदद करते हैं. अगर वो व्हाइट केन को देखते हैं तो उनको समझ में आ जाता है, हाँ इसको कुछ नजर में दिक्कत है या देखने में परेशानी है, तो लोग पूछते हैं. पूरा दुनिया में, it's just not in India, everywhere people do ask, and अगर मदद चाहिए तो बोलना है, because most of us generally feel shy many a times, so we need to overcome that. The next is get as much as information and be open to imaginations, because mind blocks are there. So how do we get to that place, and what is there to enjoy, and so on. So no, I've stood in front of Eiffel Tower and had probably the same example of how a sighted person would feel, and so on. So then the next is also use as much as apps as possible, because I'm sure all of you use different apps, be it Android or iOS platforms. Today, even there's apps like Clue, which can take you from one location and bring you back to the same location. So, for example, if you're moving from point A to point B in a big park or a ground, you can just map it and see how you're moving, and it can guide you back to the same location. So that's very helpful. And to end, I would say right from the cassette times to today's YouTube and whatnot, we have Alexa, the smart speakers. Everything is technology, everything is enabling. But our good old white cane is definitely very helpful. That's the base, I would say. It's empowering, and to me, it has been inseparable companion, and it will remain forever. So with that, I think I end. So thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, George.
Yeah. Thanks, Praveen. प्रवीण के बारे में जब बात करता हूं तो उन्होंने मुझे कई साल पहले एक कहानी सुनाया था. ये पहली बार हवाई जहाज में ट्रैवल कर रहा था, तो ये पहुंच गए एयरपोर्ट और अपना काउंटर गए, तो उन्होंने कहा कि मुझे असिस्टेंट की ज़रूरत है. तो किसी ने उनको असिस्ट किया, चेक इन करवाया, बोर्डिंग पास लिया, उनका सिक्योरिटी चेक इन हुआ, फिर उनको सिक्योरिटी लाउंज में बिठाया. और जब फ्लाइट अनाउंस हुआ तो वो असिस्टेंट आया और कहा तभी चलना है. तो इन्होंने उठा और इनको लेके एक बस में बिठा दिया. तो प्रवीण जरा थोड़ा घबरा गया. उन्होंने बोला कि he was seated in a bus and he was a little worried. and he told the assistant, my ticket is for an air travel, not for a bus travel. So, so, so this was quite hilarious, and this was one. And the other thing I'd like to say is that I was once traveling from Shillong to Delhi, and उस दिन शिलोंग से दिल्ली आने के लिए पहले शिलोंग से आप गुवाहाटी आते हैं, तो शिलोंग टू गुवाहाटी इज अ 4 hour टैक्सी ड्राइव. तो उस दिन टैक्सी स्ट्राइक हो रहा था, तो हमने 5 बजे सवेरे उठ के पहुंचा बस स्टैंड में. वहां से हमने एक बस पकड़ा. तो शुरू में बस ड्राइवर को कहा मैंने कि मैं दृष्टिहीन हूँ, मुझे गुवाहाटी पहुंचने के बाद थोड़ा मदद चाहिए होगा एयरपोर्ट तक जाने के लिए. तो ड्राइवर ने कहा कोई बात नहीं, मैं आपको मदद करूंगा. सो आई वेंट एंड आई वाज सिटिंग राइट इन फ्रंट. सो देयर वाज अ यंग लेडी सिटिंग नेक्स्ट टू मी. तो 5 घंटे का सफर था, तो उनके साथ दोस्ती हो गया, तो बातें कर रहे थे. और जब हम गुवाहाटी पहुंच गए तो ड्राइवर साहब आया, कहा सर मैं आपको एयरपोर्ट तक पहुंचाता हूं. तो दिस लेडी सेड नहीं नहीं, मैं भी एयरपोर्ट जा रहा हूं, मैं इनके साथ चले जाऊंगा. तो the driver said okay. So when I got off the bus and I was walking with the lady said, sir, you're blind, and don't you think you should have somebody traveling with you? So I said, well, wherever I've been in the world, there have been nice people like you, and only thing is that I should be able to communicate, be bold enough to say that I'm blind and I need some assistance. So I said, today, now you are taking me till the gate. Now there'll be somebody else who will escort me to the counter, and then and there'll be the airlines is very, very helpful. Right till I reach Delhi, there would be somebody or the other assisting me, and then after that, of course, as Praveen said, you have the Uber app and so on. So I think what is important is, the white cane is very important because it protects you, it guides you, it helps you, gives you the confidence that you will not hit into obstacles. It gives you the confidence that you're not going to fall into a ditch. It will give you the confidence that you will not stumble over something. And it also gives you, allows other people to know that you are visually impaired. Because otherwise there could be cases of misunderstanding. Once a friend of mine was saying that he did not have a cane and he was totally blind, and he went into a shop and he bumped into a lady, and the lady turned around and slapped him. Dikhta nahi hai. So he said dikhta nahi hai, and the lady was very upset and very apologetic and all that. But the point is that very often you get into trouble just because you didn't see the thing, and people might get offended. And that's why it's very important for you to carry a cane with you so that people know that you have a seeing problem. So, so the cane actually serves in various ways, alongside, helping you to go on holidays, having fun, being independent, going out to do your own shopping, and all that is there. And so I think even if, you have a car and you are well looked after and all that, it's always useful to have a cane, because there are moments in life where you are alone and there's nobody around to kind of support you. In such situations, the cane gives you the opportunity to move, and when you move, you progress. So moving on now to the next speaker, हमारे आज का तीसरा वक्ता है नेहा अरोरा. ये एक कंपनी चलाती है Planet Able, which organizes tours and travels and holidays for people with disability, including people who are blind. She has organized many tours and travels, and so she will tell us about her experiences, and she will also probably give you ideas in terms of what are the upcoming projects so that you might want to sign up. So Neha, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George, for the introduction. And Vamshi and Praveen, it was great insight. Thank you for sharing your experiences.
You need to be a little louder.
Oh, okay. Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Praveen and Vamshi, for sharing your great experiences. They were really nice. अच्छा, और I think हमें हिंदी और इंग्लिश दोनों में बोलने का है, तो so जैसे जॉर्ज ने बताया कि I represent an organization which is called Planet Able, or the whole idea of Planet Able is to break the barrier that disability often creates when it comes to traveling. So you could be blind, deaf, autistic, wheelchair user, or have any other disability. आप सबकी तरह travel कर सकते हो, like you know, like complete freedom to travel just like anyone else, whether you want to travel solo, or you want to go on a romantic getaway with your partner or family or friends, or adventure activities like rafting or skiing or hiking. So ये सारी चीजें normally like लोग एक perception hota hai, people have perception about people with disabilities that they don't travel, like Praveen also touched upon it in a while, that you know, people assume that you don't want to travel, or you don't need to travel just because you have a disability, or the attitude is more of sympathy, like disability, if we say, you know, the sympathetic attitude of people. So India mein kya hai, people are either very sympathetic or they are very insensitive, कि कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता उन्हें. So अगर हम empathy और dignity और sensitivity की बात करते हैं, like we need to change that. So that is what we try to work upon, कि disabled people as travelers should be uh, considered as paying dignified travelers and have access to equal facilities and experiences just like anyone else. So sirf ye nahi hai, like it's not a travel agency. Like I got a received a call few days ago from a blind person only from Bangalore. So he asked, while I'm talking to you, I don't get a feeling that I'm talking to a travel agent. Like you're talking nothing about, you know, tours, trips, uh, or, you know, trying to sell me a package. And I'm very confused. So, and we, I think, talked for about an hour. And he just kept on us. Like after half an hour, he said, I am very confused. Why are you talking all sorts of things except trying to sell me a package? I'm like, because I'm not trying to sell you a package. I'm trying to change the way that you travel and the way you will access the travel experiences, the destinations, the hotels, and creating that awareness, not just in you as a traveler, but also in the ecosystem, that you have an equal right to travel, right? Whether it's a hotel, so like, you know, they treat you differently, or anything like that, whether they are using the right set of words, whether they are using the right set of body language, or treating you the same way, just like they are treating any other paying traveler. First of all, are they even considering you that you are paying for your own travel? Like, you know, the traveling with dignity, that you have an equal right to travel and access those services. So it's about changing that ecosystem in the people and in the industry, that just like anyone else, people with disability can also travel and have access to equal travel services. So also, coming back to that very conversation, I think it's a very good example. So you also like, I also talked about that for us, it's all about your interests, that what are your interests, whether you're interested in history or culture. Instead of me trying to sell you that this is the itinerary, this is the travel plan, go, this is what I have to offer, why can't you make a choice? It's about the freedom of choice that you can have, that mujhe ye karna hai, and I will choose and decide mujhe kya karna hai. I won't give the freedom to anyone else just because I have a disability, कि कोई और मेरे लिए डिसीजन ले. अगर मैं डिसेबल हूं तो मेरा डिसीजन मेरा होना चाहिए कि मुझे कहाँ जाना है. So, and depending upon, of course, every disabled person has their own accessibility needs and independent living standards. Some are very independent, some are less independent and need some assistance. So based on that, you design the travel. And this applies not just कि सिर्फ custom travel है तो ही है. अगर ग्रुप ट्रैवल भी है तो उसमें भी everyone's needs are equally important. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप ग्रुप में हो, ऐसा आपका कोई इंडिविजुअल नीड्स नहीं है. अगर आप ग्रुप ट्रैवल में हो तब भी आपका इंडिविजुअल नीड्स है, बिकॉज यू आर एन इंडिविजुअल पर्सन. एंड यू सो जो भी हम ग्रुप ट्रिप्स भी ऑलवेज करते हैं वो हमेशा इंक्लूसिव होता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि सिर्फ ब्लाइंड का ट्रैवल कंपनी है, या सिर्फ डेफ का ट्रैवल कंपनी है, या सिर्फ व्हीलचेयर यूजर्स के लिए ट्रैवल कंपनी है, या सिर्फ नॉन डिसेबल का ट्रैवल कंपनी है. क्योंकि अगर आप लोगों को ग्रुप में डाल रहे हो वो भी एक तरीके का डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है, क्योंकि आप सेग्रीगेट कर रहे हो लोगों को बेस्ड ऑन द डिसेबिलिटी. You are segregating people based on what sort of disability you have. Your disability is you're defining you. You are not defining yourself as an individual. So it's about breaking that barrier, that we all travel together, whatever the disabilities or non-disability is, breaking the barrier and making disability just a human feature, just like I have black hair and George has white hair. So it's as simple as that. That is the only human, making it that human feature. And of course, following the inclusive design principles, that everyone's needs are met and no one is excluded. So that is why I am not trying to sell anyone the package. I'm trying to uh, give everyone the freedom of choice, the freedom to have an experience with dignity, to travel anywhere they want, wherever they want, with whomsoever they want, irrespective of the disability, age, impairment, or sexual preference. That is also important, or color, or caste, or religion. So, like, I'm just talking inclusion in travel. So ideally, like I am talking about a day where a company like Planet Able should not exist. Like in a utopic ideal world, there should be no need for a company like Planet Able that has to come forward and ask for the travel rights of people with disabilities. So okay, so I think I need to give you my background also, that why I'm talking what I'm talking, to just give a reference. So I come from a background of disability with just having 36 years of experience. That is pretty much my age. So both my parents are persons with disabilities. My father is blind and mother is a wheelchair user. And they got married like that only. So I have pretty much seen them like that always. And we could never travel as children. We just saw other people going for summer holidays and winter vacations, and we just were limited to school picnics and grandparents' houses. And when we grew up and we also started earning, so we had like 4 earning members, my parents, both of them, and we both sisters, we decided, okay, maybe money will solve the problem. But it wasn't the case. Money did not solve the problem, because it was always like you travel 2000 miles only to realize that the place is not accessible or doesn't give you the kind of experience that you would look forward to. Or people would pass comments ki jab itna problem hota hai to aate kyun ho. Like this is said on your face at majority of the places. So I was picking up fights. So like, you know, sometimes people just accept, like many of you might have gone through similar good and bad experiences. Like, of course, there are good people that help you, but there are people who are insensitive to your rights to access services and products also. So I picked up fights at most places, and one fight at a temple turned into a mob fight. And that was the day my parents decided never to travel again. And that was my tipping point to look for solution, and only to realize there is no solution existing. And I was in a corporate job. I am an engineer by education, and I was into management and enterprise sales with companies like HCL Technologies, Nokia, and Adobe. But this led me to, you know, create a solution And I did my homework for like 2 to 3 years. I've sat at different airports overnight, counting the number of people coming out, talking to various hotels in various cities. And so I've done my groundwork for all this time before I left my like well-paid career to start the company and change the way travel happens on this planet forever. So that is a bit about us.
So, Neha, can you tell us, can you talk about some of the holidays that you've taken people on?
Yeah, so we operate in 40 plus destinations across Indian subcontinent, like India and Singapore or Thailand, Malaysia and Hong Kong and Vietnam. And in India, right from the point you talk of Gulmarg till down Kerala, we can take you anywhere. And we focus on local experiences as well. So you can perhaps have tea with the royal family in some part of Kerala, or you can have celebrate a festival of a different religion with the local family in some part, or have a traditional Rajasthani meal with a local Marwari family, things like that. So these sort of experiences, I'm not talking about the touristy stuff, because that is obviously possible, but it's about whatever is possible to create that interaction with the local community. So the artisans who otherwise won't have, like, they're moving out and they're not following the traditional art forms that they are doing. So we take people to those workshops. So you might not want to buy a Banarsi silk sari because but you would love to see how it is made, right? Or put your hands upon that weaving equipment, that how a weaver is actually making a Banarasi sari, and maybe try your hands on that. So things like these are the experiences that we talk about. When I'm talking about monuments, we create 3D printed models of monuments, because sometimes it's not always possible to touch whole of Qutub Minar to see what it looks like. So, of course, special permission and access to various museums where others are not allowed to touch anything, you get access. And also and all of this, I think people have built us. I was perhaps the least travel company owner when I started, putting it all out there very honestly. So, when we did rafting, it was requested by 70-year-old auntie that she wants to do rafting, who's on a wheelchair since the age of 11. So it took me 6 months and 30 operators telling me no, but we could do it. And none of the experience is subsidized or minimized. So if everyone goes through all the rapids, you go through all the rapids. It's just that there are extra safety measures. And even if you want to jump in the Ganga, you can do that with extra measures. So whatever you can think of, we can make it happen. I just go by the mantra that why not? I'll try my best to make it happen. Whatever we can, we'll make it happen.
So, can you also share some experience where, where you've taken a bunch where there were a lot of visually impaired people in your group? What's the kind of experience you had?
Yeah, so it's always, though the group trips are mix of people with and without disabilities.
Yeah.
So so they are mix of wheelchair users as well, blind people as well. I would say majority of their, say for example, the first trip, I think that's the most beautiful memory I can share. It had around 22 disabled people. And I think 10 were visually impaired out of that. And it was a local city trip to Qutub Complex and Mehrauli Archaeological Park. It was a full one-day trip outside. And the amazing part was, people, so there were 20 non-disabled people as well as travel buddies to all of them. So the amazing part that happened was they became friends after the trip. So I just called one person one time, and he said, "Do you know where I'm sitting?" So he was sitting at his travel buddy's house, like, because they have become friends outside, Planetable. So yeah, so some of these experience, I think, yeah. And of course, like, right from one single person traveling for 4 weeks, we have done private group trips for even 40 people who have gone to a cruise from Hong Kong to Singapore via Vietnam. So
Oh,
Excellent.
wonderful.
So before I open the floor to the audience for questions, I'd like to narrate a small story, which has nothing to do with the white cane, but it's got to do with holiday. I had gone with my family on a holiday to Thailand, to a place called Kanchanaburi, which is about 2 hours drive from Bangkok. It's on the river Kwai. And so on one day, we went to a place called the Tiger Temple, which was a 1 hour drive from where we were staying. The attraction there is that it's got a lot of tigers, and you can take pictures with tigers, you can walk with tigers. They warn you in the beginning, you should never stand in front of the tiger, you should never look into the eye of the tiger, and don't stand behind the tiger, because if the tiger decides to pee, then the stink is terrible. So, so they said you walk by the side. Now, I being visually impaired, I was a little nervous because I didn't want to by mistake put my hand into the mouth of the tiger or something. So I used to tell my daughter, you better tell me where I should stand. So walking with the tiger was an amazing experience. Of course, the Tiger Temple has been closed down now because there has been some controversy that the monks were kind of involved in illegal tiger trade and so on. So they have closed that temple down. But while it functioned, whether it was illegal or legal, it was a fascinating experience. And holding a tiger, touching a tiger is like putting your hand on a carpet. That's the texture, and it's muscular, real solid body. So I have a photograph of me with the tiger, and that was fascinating. Okay, now enough of the tiger. Now let's get into some questions.